Hey everybody, what's up? This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar. We're back live again, another live stream. I want to give special shout outs to all my YouTube family that have been rocking with me during these recent times, these perilous times, as it were. Big shout outs to those of them. I'm actually going to be on Dynasty Mir's live stream in about an hour or so. I'll be doing a live stream following this one. Today I want to talk about this topic that was actually motivated by some current events. So big shout outs to the African Superstar family. If you're here, please make sure you're on code, okay guys? Please make sure that you are liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also being a part of our conversation in the chat room, okay? Today's topic is Africans need to take responsibility for African problems. Big shout outs to my moderators there, everybody with the wrench. If you were previously a moderator on our former platform, I will get you updated, but please make sure you leave a comment for me in the chat room. That's how I'm able to go back through and add everybody back into moderation. So I want to talk about this topic today. Okay, guys. What's up, Evergreen? I see you there. What's up, family? Good to see you guys. Thank you so much. So it's earlier today. It is Easter Sunday. And my sister and I, Sundays are our beach days. Sundays are our beach or resort days. So we headed off to a popular resort that we go to. I'm not giving y'all the location because y'all be showing up where I be at. So I'm not telling you, but we went to one of the resorts that we visit periodically, and it was a, it was a family affair. I think that's quite popular here in Ghana. A lot of people go to resorts for holidays and special occasions. The kids play in the pool. They'll have live music, or they might have like a meal or something available. So that was going on. So when we left, we happened to get this boat driver. Okay. And, something that's quite popular here, and I think, members of the diaspora will get frustrated with it. They'll get annoyed with it. But, some of our continental brothers and sisters, they can be very stereotypical in their understanding of who we are and why we're here in all of this. We began to have a conversation, and this guy was talking about, it's crazy. We have all these resources here and our leaders are to blame, and, why this and why that, and, got into this kind of, it was kind of a rhetorical kind of conversation, because it's like, we kind of know the answers to this. And in reality, I think that when we as Africans begin to take responsibility for our lives, some of the things that are happening, and certainly the prospective solutions for a lot of these things, we'll be better off, you see, because we're always casting the blame. Okay, it's always somebody else's fault all the time. What's up, Evergreen? I see you there. Big shout outs, guys. Hey, if you're here, let me see you, because let me see you, okay? All right, there we go. That's better. Okay, so what's up, guys? We have a few of you in there. So today I want to encourage, as usual, I want to encourage Africans to start taking more responsibility for the situation that they're in. I had a live stream probably about 2 weeks ago on the previous channel, and I had a gentleman call in. I'm not sure exactly which African nation he's from, but he said one thing that he really admires about me is I came to the continent. I'm not really complaining about what's going on here. Okay, I came here and I immediately tried to position myself, and take responsibility for my life. I didn't come to Ghana with the expectation, oh, Ghana owes me. I'm a member of the diaspora. I'm entitled to this and I'm entitled to that. No, that was never my mentality. And the reality is, when you see, for instance, that people are not doing well for you, all right, and I'll give you an example of this. Let's say that you are doing some kind of investment. Let's say you're doing like stocks, okay? So you go through a broker to have a stock portfolio, unless you know how to, monitor the market and sell your shares and buy shares and all that stuff. But a lot of people that aren't that versed or just don't have that, they don't feel very confident, they go to brokers to do this stuff for them, all right? So let's say you go to the broker and you invest $10,000 or 10,000 pounds or 10,000 euro, or 10,000 CDs. Okay. And this broker starts losing your money. All right. It's safe to say that you're going to change that relationship, right? You're not going to keep on giving more and more money to this person who's losing your money. When we look at what's happening to our continent and our people, it's time for us to take responsibility in that. If I were to pose a question, okay, I remember seeing Walter Maya had a live stream about this a while back, probably, maybe 8 months or so. He had a live stream about what is wrong with Africans, like what's the biggest problem. A lot of the people was very redundant, kept calling in and said, it's our mentality. It's our outlook. It's the way that we interact with people. Okay, well, when are we going to choose to take control of that? You can't necessarily be held accountable for things that you are ignorant to or unaware of. But once we started identifying where a lot of the problems lie, then we then have the burden of proof to begin to address those things. And I think a lot of us are just too comfortable being in the situation of being frustrated about what's happening. A lot of African people, both home and abroad, are not taking responsibility. They're not inserting themselves where they can be useful. They're not even doing the bare minimum or basics that could actually impact these things. And they're still investing a lot of their hope, their future, the well-being of their children, health, in the hands of people that have repetitively not gotten us returns on our investment. It's time to take responsibility. Now, when you look at this big picture, realistically, you may not evangelize the world. Okay, that's another part of y'all's problems, for real, is your idea of impacting the world around you is grand. Okay, so you want to see, the whole continent do a 360. You want to see all Black people unite. You want to see a united Africa. You want to see all these kind of things that are beautiful, in theory, but really not realistic, to be honest. All right. Because when you're looking at problems such as these, you're looking at dynamics that have existed for centuries. Okay. And what we know about changes anyway is change is gradual. All right. When you want to see a change, especially when you want to see a change like in regards to like social engineering, that's something that takes a very long time. Okay. That's why I'm always talking about SMP. Big shout outs to Lorne. Okay, guys, if you're here, please be on code. Leave me something in the chat. I can greet you. Okay. That's why we talk about SMP. Okay. Strategy, maturity, and patience. Because just because you're coming here to the continent, people are not ready for you. Let me tell you definitively, a lot of the people I've come in contact with here in Ghana are not ready for what I'm talking about. They're not ready. They're not ready. They're waiting on the leadership of Ghana to do something. They're waiting on Jesus to come out the sky. They're waiting for the afterlife. They're waiting for, good karma. What goes around comes around. They're looking for everybody else to solve these problems, okay? A lot of our brothers and sisters here on the continent, they have their sights set on the West. That's where they believe they can be most successful. Okay. So when you get here to the continent, you got to know that. You got to know that. Most of the people that you come in contact with, they're going to have that perspective. Okay. But like I said, social engineering is a gradual process. And what those of us from the diaspora most certainly should be concerned with, even, you know, progressive continentals or progressive African migrants, is the long run. How are we going to rectify what's going on? If we can all identify that mentality is a big issue for our people, we have got to target mentality. How are we going to target mentality? Education, media, religion. The same tools that have been used against our people are the same vehicles we need to use to convince our people and educate our people and get them on the right path. Okay? Think about all the detrimental things that maybe even you have believed about your own people. Where did those things come from? Where did they come from? Who gave it to you? Where did you see it? Where did you read about it? Where did you hear it? Those same vehicles that try to discourage you from ultimately the path that you're on now, because again, you know, my channel, you know, we're heading in a certain direction. So now you're on that path. And a lot of you, if you were smart, you even had to disconnect from a lot of those vehicles that were misguiding you. Okay, so you abandon maybe your religious affiliation. Okay, maybe you stopped hanging with certain people. Maybe you stopped watching certain programs or listening to certain music. Maybe you know, changed educational views and all this kind of stuff to protect your mind. Okay, the bottom line is, if we want our people to behave in a certain way, we've got to instill the values in them. Okay, here in Ghana, for instance, it's a very cultural place. Okay, and what that means is a lot of the people, you know, perpetuate similar lifestyles. Okay, they do similar stuff, which means when you run into a lot of people, unlike in the West where, you know, there's a lot of individuals, okay, and everybody's doing their own thing and whatever. All right. Here on the continent, people behave in kind of in cultural obedience. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that they do that's similar, that they all do, or a lot of them do. A lot of them participate in. Which can be potentially a challenge for someone coming in, you know, an outsider coming in, because, you know, especially if you can't you can't acquiesce to those cultural norms, you may find yourself a little alienated. But the reality is, guys, we are great in numbers, and we're waiting for a small group of people to, you know, give the green light. Okay, your concern here on the continent should not be the leaders. I mean, real talk, especially if you're coming in from the diaspora. You know, we know that a lot of the leaders, the majority of the leaders on the continent, are charlatan leaders. I mean, that's just what it is. They are in political agreements with, you know, the Western nations. Okay, which means they have to abide and they have to acquiesce and they have to kind of have some kind of, you know, camaraderie with a lot of these nations. They are not at liberty to operate in an independent, you know, direction when organizing these countries. Real talk. Okay, because these leaders are not stupid. Okay, these leaders are not stupid. I think most of them are probably scared, to be honest, because they know if they come out too radical, and they know if they come out with like a nationalist agenda, what that entails. And quite frankly, no African nation is in a position to engage with these Western military, you know, because that's the next step. See, when you come out and says, hey, my country is going to do what's in my country's best interest, we're not going to do what you guys say, then I mean, we know how America gets down. America gets down by force. Okay, they come with that military, initiative. Like, okay, you ain't gonna do it our way. We're gonna find a way. So a lot of these leaders on the continent, I believe that they're just, they don't want to rock the boat because they know it's going to be. They know what kind of price is associated with that. But I would say, those of us, that are coming to the continent, especially those of us that are enlightened to what's happening, we need to take responsibility for some of these problems, and we need to strive to make the impact on some of these problems. Okay, me as an African superstar, I can't solve all problems in Ghana. Okay, I can maybe try to address a few within my realm of influence. You understand? But the reality is, if I'm doing that, and then Levin Niger is doing her thing in Nigeria, and then Pam O.T. Traveler is doing her thing in Tanzania, and Lady Visionary is doing her thing in Rwanda, and Dias is doing his thing in Nigeria, and Juliet's doing her thing in the Gambia, and RJ's in Senegal. See, we begin to have a footprint here on this continent. And some of y'all is too worried about the extraneous things, aka semantics. You're worried about all kind of lofty stuff that is crazy, when there's simple, basic things that we can begin to be solving, we can begin to address. And we don't necessarily need the leadership to do it. It's more or less step up to the plate and do it. After all, if you're creating initiatives to benefit the local community, you are inserting yourself in a void that other people are neglecting. Who's going to resist you, putting roads in? Who's going to resist you building a school in your neighborhood? Who's going to who's going to resist you doing those things? Because those things are beneficial to the community. What's up, family? If you're here, please make sure you like this video. This is what I'm talking about. So obviously, like I said, this conversation was motivated by a conversation that my sister and I had earlier with our boat driver. The boat driver was just lamenting, oh, our leaders aren't doing this and our leaders aren't doing that. Our youth is this and our youth is that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, how long are we going to entrust the leaders to do what they have never done? What very few have done? I mean, if we wait for them to put initiatives in, we're not going to get anywhere. Real talk. If we wait for the leaders, and this even really goes for global leaders, okay, not just African leaders, because global leaders also be on that BS. Global leaders. Those of y'all in America know. I lived there for many decades, and I swear to God, I really couldn't feel the impact when a different one went into the White House or whatever. When a different governor came in or out or whatever, a different mayor. I just saw it as something that was, far, far reaching. I just carried on with my life as if they didn't exist, and I was able to do a lot of things because I didn't focus on them. To me, they were irrelevant. They still are. I feel like, okay, I'm going to find ways to create, my dynamic even here in Ghana. I'm not trying to break laws, and I'm not trying to be a renegade, and I'm not trying to start some kind of political storm, but I'm just not hung up in these leaders because they have a long track record of not being productive. This is why I always get so shocked whenever election time comes around, how our people get in an uproar when I'm thinking like, but what have any of them done anyway? Besides make empty promises. And every now and then you get one in there that, his or her heart is in the right place, and they do some stuff or whatever. But a lot of times, I remember on Facebook, there was this Facebook page. I can't think of the name of it, but basically this guy would catalog all the promises that this candidate made on the campaign trail, and then parallel it with, their term and how much of that stuff they achieved. And I saw actually somebody did it also for the former president here in Ghana, John Mahama. He had a long list of all these promises that he told the Ghanaian people before he got in. And then they paralleled it with after his term, what he had done. And it was like a small fraction of all those promises. We need to look to self. Those of you with children, I tell you all the time, you are doing your children a grand disservice to not prepare them for the world that they're going into. You want to let them think they got a shot at certain stuff. You want to let them think that they can be friends with these people. You want to let them integrate with them. You want to promote them to marry them. And all that stuff leads to problematic things, but you don't want to tell them ahead of time. You don't want to be real and say, hey, look. That's a big, huge problem with our people. We don't want to prepare the youth. We don't want to prepare them. Why should somebody be growing up in 2021 and be blindly migrating to the West? Why is that happening? Huh? Where are the diasporan schools here on the continent that are going to educate those children on the reality of what it's like in the West and why their best interest should be here in their nation? Where are those diasporan trade schools that are teaching the kids basic skills that they can start doing? Agriculture, infrastructure, electricity, plumbing, all those kind of trade things that are transferable internationally and certainly valuable to developing nations. Why aren't we seeing problems, that we can begin to minister to and address those problems? How long are we going to keep entrusting the responsibility to third parties? Matter of fact, like I always tell you guys, third parties that don't even produce results. That's one personal reason that I gravitated away from the church. What's up, guys? Lebanija, Black Beauty, I see you there. Guys, I don't know if you're here or not because I don't see in the chat. I don't know. So please be on code, okay? That's one of the reasons personally I gravitated away from the church. All right. Being someone who's very progressive and putting a lot in, okay? Putting a lot of time in, putting in, financial support, putting in prayers and supplication and all that stuff. I was wondering, when do I get it out? And I was not happy with the afterlife theory. No. Especially when I saw people living it up right here, right now, modern day. They weren't waiting. The other ethnicities are not waiting for the afterlife to live. They're living right now. They're balling out right now. They're enjoying life right now. I thought, okay, me too. Because the law of nature is for every action, there's a reaction. So when you start putting things in, yeah, there should be a reciprocal. Absolutely. And so I started to get frustrated after many years of being in the church and just feeling like, okay, I'm still in this situation in my life. I'm not progressing, and I felt at that time, okay, you know what? I need to do a little bit more hands-on motivation in my own life as to getting to the goals I wanted. I talk about it quite frequently. One of the big things I wanted to do was travel and see the world. I couldn't correlate how I was going to be able to afford it while simultaneously giving a portion of my income to the church. Not getting anything tangible back, apart from motivation, motivating messages and fellowship at the church, but, not getting any dividends off of that, in my opinion. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to actually save the money that I'm giving out and put it towards plane tickets. And amazingly, I began to travel the world. You see? And that's when I learned that You have to be a driving force behind the initiatives that you're pursuing. You know, we are groomed to always channel every single thing that we need through the middleman. Okay. We are not geared to be independent. We're not geared to be entrepreneurial. We're not geared to critically think. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in. Shout outs to you guys. First trivia question. Have you ever had an incompetent superior at work? Let me see a number one. You have somebody and you're thinking, oh my God, my boss is so dumb. They make you do, you know, stupid projects. They make you go around in circles. You know, they take credit for your work. They do all kind of crazy dumb stuff. And you're thinking like, why, you know, you're thinking to yourself, this process could be streamlined if I didn't have to deal with this person, right? That's what I'm talking about today. What's up, Michelle Marsh? I see you there. Big shout outs to those of you that answered the trivia question. We've got to gravitate away from going through a middleman that is not even beneficial. It's different if the middleman is actually, you know, negotiating on your behalf. That's what a middleman is supposed to do. What's up, Shirley? Big shout outs to you. Hey guys, make sure you hit the likes. Everybody in here, I need you to subscribe to the channel. Please be subscribed, okay? We're trying to regrow our platform back. The middleman's supposed to bring you some dividends. Okay? And when we look at our people as a whole, and how we have entrusted, you know, the well-being, welfare, and the future of our people into those entities, you know, can we honestly say that we're better off? Can we honestly say that we've been guided in the right direction? No. Our people are worse off now, especially in the West, than they were even 40, 50 years ago. So it's time to take responsibility, eliminate the non-productive middleman. You know, as a rule of thumb, when it comes to business, yeah, you got to collaborate and stuff like that. But whenever you are collaborating with the middleman, all right, guys, you should be the one who's capitalizing the most. They should be a benefit to you. That's the whole purpose of them being there. You know, a middleman is supposed to be a liaison. He's supposed to negotiate both sides. He's supposed to kind of be the vehicle that ties everything together and helps both parties. If that entity is not performing well, you need to eliminate the middleman. There are many things in my life that I feel I can do better than a middleman can do. I've even entrusted people sometimes to delegate this and manage that, and they haven't been able to do it. I was able to do it better than them. And I think we need to be more integral in our affairs here on the continent. Some of you diasporans that are coming here to the continent, all you can do is harp on the problems, harp on the system, what you don't like, the lack of this, that, convenience, blah, 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 the people this, the people that. Okay. But what exactly can you contribute to these situations? What can you contribute? Yourself. Yourself. Not including third parties, not including extraneous individuals, people you can't even get in contact with. You know, an average person living here in Ghana probably can't actually get in contact with the president. Maybe. So imagine just living your whole life not able to get in contact with the leaders, but feeling like the leaders have everything to do with your life. And when we look at the people that have managed to thrive, hey guys, let me get a like count because I'm going to open up the call lines if any of you guys want to call in. When we look at the people that have become successful in life, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, those people have decided to take control of their own affairs. They have decided to push themselves forward. They have decided to, kind of resist obstacles and all that stuff and strive. The people that sit back and wait for someone else to lead them and do it for them, they're vulnerable. They get taken advantage of. And a lot of times they're just pushed to the back and they may never, ever realize their dreams. So I personally believe that we as a people need to take more responsibility here on the continent for the problems that we're seeing. We need to find strategic ways to improve things. We need to address the problems that we see. What good is talking about the mentality of our people if we are not working strategically to address that? I believe that that is a massive problem for our people. I believe the mentality is a massive problem. And that's why I'm here on social media. Doing what? Trying to enlighten my people. This was the medium that I could find to get a message out. Did I consult, at the time I started my channel, it was Obama was in office. Did I ever speak to Obama or Trump? Have I ever spoke to Boris Johnson? Have I spoke to John Mahama or Nana Ado? No, I haven't been in contact with any of them. I said, okay, you know what? This is something I'm passionate about. This is a way that I can begin to have an impact and implement it. Simple. My platform didn't grow overnight. A lot of you guys have been with me since the beginning. Or, for several years, you were a part of my platform. It took a long time to grow it. But the point is, you start somewhere. And there was no middleman. I mean, in a way, yeah. I mean, YouTube is the middleman. YouTube's the middleman because YouTube has the service. All right. But I feel like in regards to YouTube, that middleman was beneficial to me because it connected me with a global audience that I otherwise would not have access to. It also allowed me to start this message without capital. Okay. I got here on YouTube and I just started with what I had and started producing my messages and so on and so forth. All right. We need to start looking inward. Whenever we see problems, we need to start looking inward and saying, okay, how exactly can I do something towards this? I'm telling you guys, if more of our people had that mentality, oh, there's a problem. Okay, let me see what I can do to it. Okay, there's a situation. Let me, try to formulate something, if more of us were but see, a lot of us, again, we are transposing it out. We're transposing it out. African migrants are brilliant at this. Anytime you have a conversation with them about their country, it's their leaders. Their leaders, the Chinese. You talk to diasporans, those of you in America, it's the white man. It's systematic racism. It's this, it's that. Learn how to utilize some of those obstacles to be a benefit to you. If certain people have stereotypes, play into them to make it work. Right? They don't have an expectation of us to do certain things. So let's go ahead and turn the tables. I told you guys, when I worked in corporate, I had a big red, bullseye on my back. And these people were throwing, darts at me every opportunity that they got. What's up, family? The call lines are open. Don't be shy if you want to get in on this topic, please. Also, please hit the lights. Big shout out to the viewers tonight. What's up? So I realized, I said, you know what? Okay, I see how this goes. The higher you escalate, the more of a target you are, the more they start making life very, very difficult for you. And when I moved to the UK, I said, you know what? I'm going to be nondescript. Okay, I'm going to try to blend in a bit more. And I'm telling you guys, when I took that lowly job, that healthcare job, a lot of us, you know, African people, migrant people, those are the jobs we work in. Healthcare, nursing, patient assist, blah, 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 whatever, medical. Okay. They don't mind you in that context. So go on, get in there and get the money. Go on and get in there and make your strategic exit. Stop trying to, erect a different system. You're drawing too much attention to yourself. Okay. If you function in the capabilities that they expect you to, trust me, you can get by a lot easier. Okay. When you don't disclose your plans, you know in your heart, oh, I'm moving to Africa. I want to move to Africa. Focus on your plan. It's not necessary for you to be communicating that out. You know, a good example of this, for instance, is like the Asian community. Okay. The Asian community came in and they set up Chinese restaurants all around America. I mean, basically, the Chinese restaurant is global. I pretty much probably anywhere you go in the world, you're going to see Chinese restaurants. Okay. When they came in and set up the Chinese restaurants, the white Americans weren't threatened by that. They said, oh man, we like the way they make fried rice. We like chow mein. We like egg rolls. Right? The Asians came in and got on the salon scene. Right? Doing hands and nails, you know, especially feet. That's dirty work. They came in and set up massage parlors. White America wasn't threatened by none of that. They said, yeah, we need these amenities. These Asians are really good. Sometimes they will be insulting them, calling them names, and, you know, so on and so forth, right? The Asian community took all that money right to the bank. Whatever money they started making from their nail salons, massage parlors, and restaurants, they were funneling that back to Asia. You see, but see, our people, we don't get it together. We don't think like that. Okay, we can do this healthcare, we can do care, okay, or whatever. Right? Some of y'all think y'all too good for that. You got degrees and you like, yeah, I'm too good to do healthcare and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? I was able in about 2.5 years to raise money to move to Africa doing that lowly job without distractions. I can tell you I wasn't successful in doing that in the corporate environment. I wasn't. Because every time I got ahead, they were pulling me back. You see, I needed to fly under the radar. That's what some of you need to learn. And then once you amass the resources, you can be effective here on the continent. Because when you come here, you can start erecting things and you can start setting things up and start organizing yourself. And some of the problems that you see, you can begin to address them. What's up, Mr. Hillary? I see you. It says the Asians know how to move in silence. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, like I just gave you the example. They knew how to get the resources from the West without being threatening. They knew how to get the resources from the West without being threatening. Nobody took them serious when they was opening them nail salons, even though those nail salons are probably $1 million businesses. Nail salons are probably easily bringing in $1 million every year, especially in the West. It's very, very popular. I know when I lived in Ohio, I used to go to the nail shop every 2 weeks and get my hands and feet done. Some of you ladies do the same thing. Some of you go and you get the eyebrows done. You know, you get the body waxes, you get the massages, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Them Asians came in, siphoned the money, and sent it back. The Latinos do the same thing. They came in and they do infrastructure. Okay, they build a lot of stuff. They do all that handiwork. You see what I'm saying? These foreigners know how to come in and say, okay, you know what? This is the area where we can penetrate and get some resources for our homeland. Why don't we realize that too? You know, but some of us are just too good for this and we're too good for that. You know, see, I happen to know, and I actually observed this from the Asians at the nail salons. Yeah, they'll be down there giving pedicures all day long, and they'll be driving in Lexuses, and they'll be sending their kids to school for, you know, to become a medical doctor or something like that. All the money is green. You understand? So I never was fussy about my jobs particularly. Okay, I've worked in all kind of jobs. I've been a waitress before. I've worked in a warehouse. I've worked in McDonald's. I drove Uber. I did whatever. I didn't feel no type of way that, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be, you know, whatever, whatever. And I do see a bit of that mentality here on the continent as well, because people feel like, okay, if they're educated, they should be having a certain kind of job, and they're not necessarily willing to do other things. And it's like, you're missing out, because sometimes those basic things is going to be your jackpot. You know, there are certain industries, for instance, like you know, the beauty industry, that it seems um unwavering, you know, no matter what's happening in the world. You know, if the economy is down, if the economy is up, if it's locked down. You know, I saw on Facebook people was doing like mobile barbering. Okay, people still need their hair cut in the pandemic. Ladies still want their nails done. They still want their hair done. They still need their beautician treatments. Okay, these industries are industries that kind of can weather the storm. We need to figure out, okay, those of us in the West, let's penetrate those markets, get the resources with the intent of taking it home. Okay, because money is green. Now, just imagine I came to the UK and I said, you know what? I study in project management. All right. Any other, you know, people that study project management know it can be kind of tough to get jobs in those industries. You know, they're always telling you, oh, you don't have enough experience. Do you have this certification? You know, they're always trying to write you off for stuff. If I would have waited for that in the UK, I wouldn't be here in Ghana right now. Okay. I actually got the job at the mental hospital within like 2 months of moving there. Okay. Soon as I applied, they called me back and I went and started doing it. I didn't know anything about mental health. I didn't know anything about care or anything. I had never worked in that setting. But I figured, you know what? This place is desperate for workers. Okay. So they're not going to be on me like that. That was my mindset. Okay. They don't have enough opportunity to focus in on me because they're desperate. And I was right. They were happy that I came to work every day. And I took advantage of their stereotypical view of my people. And at the end of the day, I laughed away. I laughed to the bank. You know what I'm saying? I made it work for me. I capitalized. There's people who are, you know, PhDs and, you know, corporate gurus, and they can't even figure out how to get out the matrix to move back home to the continent. I did it working at a mental hospital. You understand? But I know I digress a little bit, but still the topic is we need to start taking responsibility for what's going on, and we need to start figuring out how to be effective. All right. When you get here to the continent, figure out how to be effective. The beauty about a lot of the loopholes and freedom that currently exists here on the continent is you can make stuff happen. You can maneuver stuff and make things happen or whatever here and utilize that. Because even some of you guys from the diaspora, you too good for that. Oh, I just, the corruption in Africa. Oh my gosh. You know, everything is connection. You got to know people. You know, I just wish the system would just work. And honestly, the fact that in some areas there are loose parameters that means you can finagle it and make it what you want it to do. You know, I'm going to remind you of what the Italians did. Okay. If you guys know anything about the Italians, you know that the Italians, you know, they're known for organized crime, right? They're known for loan sharks. They're known for, you know, killing people. I know in Chicago they were known for bootlegging. So, you know, they were making illegal alcohol and, you know, doing all this kind of other stuff, right? The Italians gave you the best model ever, okay, in terms of, you know, raising dirty money and making it legit. What the Italians did was they took their funds from organized crime and they built casinos. And basically they used those proceeds to make a legal business. Hello? Read between the lines. We're coming here to the continent. We need to get stuff set up and started and rolling. Yeah, you might bump shoulders with somebody. You might take somebody out for dinner. You might do a little favor. The ends justify the means. And when we start thinking like that, we're going to get ahead. Because if you notice, I'm not trying to be funny, but most of the people at the top, they got them skeletons in their closet. Okay. I really, it's a very, very small, minute percentage of people that have escalated by doing everything ethically. And that's just what it is, you know? And sometimes these things don't come out for like 20, 30 years about what they did. You know, we see all this culture in Hollywood of like sexual favors. You know, people were hooking up with people and people were doing this and that and making sex tapes and all this stuff so that they could get into the movie, so they could get the role, so they could drop the album. And then once they became famous, you know, they was like, okay, you know, I did what I needed to do to get the exposure. This is human nature, guys. This is the world we live in. All right. We need to figure out how exactly we can begin to put our footprint here on the continent as diasporans. You know, our goal should be acquiring land, setting up businesses, creating relationships with the locals. You know, that should be our focal point, because once you're set up and once you are, you know, matriculated into society, you can begin to create the influence necessary for change in the future. Okay, we're very used to the middleman, and we're very used to always, you know, having to get things approved and all this stuff. But the reality is, start now and grow it. You know, start today with what you want to see and what you want to happen. All right. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. I see y'all a little quiet today, so I am going to go ahead and wrap up the show because I do have a live stream with Dynas Demir. So any of my Search for Uhuru family, y'all can come over if you still want to see more. I'll be on his platform at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 10 o'clock GMT. Okay, so that's 15 minutes. All right. So I'm going to go over there. So big shout outs to those of you that watched me today. Anybody watching the playback, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You guys were really on point with the likes today. Thank you so much. Also, you know, we are rebuilding the platform, so it's very important you guys subscribe. And also, don't forget our Superstar submissions. Okay, I'm looking forward to getting those from you guys. 2 to 3 minute video about what the African Superstar platform means to you, what the clothing means, you know, the africansuperstar.com, or how this has been a resource to you. The video with the most views on June 26th is eligible for a $100 cash prize and a free backpack of their choice from the africansuperstar.com. So you can produce your video and you can send it to me through my email, which is africansuperstar@gmail.com, my Instagram, Facebook, or if you have my WhatsApp number, you can send it to me that way. I'll put the video on the channel, and send you the link. And at that point, you can share it on your social media, get your friends to watch it, get your family to watch it. Video with the most views is the winner. And I want to let y'all know, Dark Spear has already entered. His video is on the channel already. So he's getting views while you guys are waiting. So do participate in our challenge as well. Okay? All right, family. Once again, until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.